All right. So one of my favorite YouTube channels called Think Before You Sleep has made some wild accusations, would be the polite way of putting it. Because the less polite way of putting it would be, you didn't do your research, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. Why are you talking about this? If we put the current issue aside, I really enjoy Think Before You Sleep because he has very good, in-depth, well-researched content. Like, this is the first time I've ever seen him make content that was not well researched, that like I disagree with because I believe that I have factual data that disproves what he says. So here I am. I'm gonna call him out for his mistake. And I'm not trying to be rude or mean about this, but I just want him to educate himself, learn the error of his ways, and correct himself so that in the future he does not continue to make the same mistake. Because I see a lot of people making this type of mistake, not just Think Before You Sleep, a lot of people who do not understand red pill type content. They just are viewing it from this outside perspective, and they think that they can understand it from an outside perspective, but that's not really true. You kind of really have to dig into it to try to really understand what's going on here, guys. There's a lot of layers. This is not a simple issue. It's very complex. Basically, about a little over a week ago, Think Before You Sleep released a video about gym thoughts ruining the gyms for everybody. All the girls that go around in the gyms and film everything they do and then complain and file harassment complaints whenever somebody walks through their video or looks at them and they catch them on video. And, the whole rest of his video was, I would say, pretty spot on, pretty much, 100% accurate on almost everything, except for this one random portion in the middle where for some reason he decided to all of a sudden talk about red pill content creators. Why red pill content creators are being lumped in with gym thoughts who can't stop recording their ass for, their OnlyFans. It just felt very random and forced, in my opinion. Like, the two topics really should have been in separate videos, which is probably why he ended up making this mistake, was because he really should have made this topic a completely separate video, and he should not have combined the two, because that's probably how he made this mistake. But it's too late now, so we're going to review it and get into why it is incorrect. So let's get started.
It turns out that disliking a woman does not stop guys from subscribing to her and giving her money if they find her attractive.
When you got kicked off of Fresh and Fit the first time, how much money did you make, girl, afterwards? Like, how many...
Fresh and Fit, there's no one that does more for OnlyFans women than Fresh and Fit. Myron, one of the hosts, wrote a book, Why Women Deserve Less. You are the number one, you have helped sex workers more than anybody, I think, in the world. You have given us the world. Every time I come on your show, my money goes way up.
Yep, that's 100% true.
Yes, he is absolutely 100% correct, and so are the women in the clips that he showed. Everyone is correct here. Yes, that is exactly what happens. They are noticing a thing that is true. Okay? When the sex workers go on these shows, these red pill type shows, their subscriber count always increases. They always end up making more money, which is why these women keep going on these shows, even though every time they go on these shows, they look like complete buffoons, because they're just asked some simple questions, and then the answers that they give make them look like horrible people. So let's just get that fact out of the way real quick, that yes, when these sex workers go onto these podcasts, they do end up making more money from it. They get more subscribers. They get more popular from it. Yes, that is absolutely true. We need to ask the question why, and as you'll see in the next clip, he doesn't ask the question why, but don't worry, we'll get into that in a second. So let's keep moving.
Despite their whole content being centered around saying OnlyFans is bad and the women who do it are stupid, Fresh and Fit are the biggest promoters of sex workers. Well, maybe not anymore, because they only get a fraction of the views that they used to, and in the current day, the Whatever podcast does way better. But the point is that these people know what they're doing.
I make more than a doctor, and I capitalize off of men. You guys are my biggest fans, even if you're haters. I made over $400,000 last year. and it is all because of you. So you guys want to keep clowning on sex work? Keep it up, because if you guys just came together as a whole, as men, we wouldn't be in business. We are profiting off of you. Keep talking shit about sex workers because we are making so much more money.
Exactly. If you don't like these OnlyFans chicks because it's anti-traditional or anti-Christian or whatever, then stop giving them money. This is a two-way street. It's not just the women, it's also the men supporting the product. The women wouldn't be there if the men weren't buying. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that the women are completely innocent here, but if you're going to virtue signal about how bad porn is and how it's ruining women, then instead of placing the blame solely on women, how about you stand on your principles and stop consuming it? And if you can't stop, go get treatment. Dr. K has a ton of videos on it if you don't know where to start.
Now, isn't it sad that these women get absolutely rewarded with hundreds of thousands of dollars per year for being absolutely horrible people? I think it's a completely upside down incentive structure here. And while they are correct, yes, the audience is men. Like, because obviously, who else would be paying money for this type of content? It's obviously men. It can't be anyone else. But nobody even stops to think and ask the question, well, which men though? You know, like obviously the content is being paid for by men, but who exactly? Which men specifically? What groups of men are the ones paying for this type of content? Well, according to a 2021 study that was done on the user statistics of OnlyFans, you know, the people who use the website, not the content creators, the study that they did stated that basically 68.9% of the users are likely to be white and 89.5% are married. That's right. Basically 90% of all the people who pay money for OnlyFans are married men. Okay? Did we all understand that correctly? So it's not the single lonely guys who are out here addicted to porn, who are paying for all of it, who are, you know, watching these girls on Fresh and Fit and then going and subscribing to their OnlyFans account. No, it's the married men who are doing that. Do you understand? It's not single men who do that. It's married men who do that. Single men do not pay for porn. We know it's free. Why would we ever pay for it when there's enough porn for you to stack it to the moon and back that's free? Why would I ever pay for something that's free? This doesn't make any sense. But you know what does make sense? Why married men are paying for all of this porn. Well, there was another study done, and it confirmed that over a quarter of marriages, over a quarter of all marriages are sexless. And actually, it's closer to a third because it's a 29%. So almost 1 out of all 3 marriages are sexless. And what they define sexless as in they have had sex less than 10 times in the past year or no sex at all in the past year. That is what they define as a sexless marriage. And that is almost 30% of all marriages are sexless. So no wonder so many married men are out here paying for OnlyFans content because they're not getting it from their wife. And they can't divorce her because they'll get, you know, dragged through the coals in divorce court and completely wrecked and ruined. So what is their only option? Well, obviously their only option to, get the poison out is to go and watch some porn because, you know, they can't go fuck a prostitute. They can't go, go fuck another woman. They can't do none of that. The only thing they can do is go and watch some porn. So of course they're the ones paying for it. It all makes sense when you actually understand the data and what's going on here.
But this whole Manosphere podcast to OF subscriber pipeline has to be obvious to at least some people at this point. Otherwise, these alpha male podcasts wouldn't still be able to find so many female content creators to do the show after they spent hours per episode trashing them. The hosts are definitely aware of what's going on because they almost exclusively put 19-year-old female sex workers on their shows instead of women who are there to actually challenge their opinions on dating and relationships. Congrats, a man in his 40s defeated a girl half his age in a debate. Real brave.
What happens is they hate themselves and they see you and they're attracted to you and then they can't help it because they want to see more, and they're actually secret simps, but they hate themselves for being simps. So then they subscribe to your OnlyFans and hate themselves for it. So then they go back on Fresh and Fit and watch women get bullied to kind of make themselves feel better. At least with that audience, that's what I noticed.
That's how that works.
That's how that works. Yeah, most of the time. Like, you'll see some people that like hate watch Fresh and Fit, and they're like, "Oh my God, you like, I loved you on there and I joined." But a lot of them are still red pilled. Like, I call them like my red pilled simps. They will. They agree with the message. They think I'm a 304. They think I'm a whore, but they still fucking want to see the. So they go and that's how we make money.
Right. It's porn addiction. It's guys who can't control themselves by not consuming the content that they spend so much time saying is wrong.
And yeah, again, with the wild accusations of, like, yes, he is correct. It obviously is porn addiction, but we got to look into why it's porn addiction. And let's be real. Porn addiction is not a very serious addiction. Okay, you can get over a porn addiction in about 2 weeks, all right? It's not that bad, okay? Quitting nicotine is harder than quitting porn, let me tell you, because I quit both. So I would know. And the reason these men that are consuming this content believe it to be wrong is because they finally learned the true nature of women after being married to one, and they realize that they're now in a sexless relationship, and now the only way that they can, get their jimmies off is to go and watch some girl on the internet do it for them. So while he says it's guys who can't control themselves, I beg to differ. I think it's desperate men who are desperate for any type of female connection at all, because if they're out here paying money to prostitutes, then they're obviously not getting, enough affection from their wife. Why else would they be paying prostitutes if their wife was giving them all the affection that they needed? That wouldn't make any sense. But I mean, obviously, since almost a third of all marriages are sexless, obviously these men are just horny and just need to bust a nut. So that's why they're paying for this content, because, all right, when I used to manage OnlyFans models, okay, the most popular type of content sold was the quote unquote girlfriend experience, all right? Hands down, like most men, like across the board, most of them wanted the girlfriend type experience. They wanted these OnlyFans models to talk to them like they were dating, like they were in a relationship, like they were, deeply in love with each other. Like, it's really quite sad when you look at it, because it's really just guys who just want to have like a genuine personal connection with another human being, and they can't get it from their wife. And they can't leave their wife and go get it from another woman, because the way that the court system is set up and the way the laws are structured, that their life will be completely ruined if they do try and get it from another woman or leave their wife. So what other option do they have? Like, seriously, what other option do they have? Because I'm not aware of any. Until we fix the divorce courts or something else changes, I don't think this problem's going to change. It's just going to keep getting worse, guys.
Look at the thumbnails. It's always women in bikinis or the spiciest photo being used. And keep in mind that these are the advertiser-friendly thumbnails I'm showing. If you look at whatever podcast or Access Vegas, they are clearly porn baiting to attract attention from addicts. They aren't against OnlyFans at all. OnlyFans Girls and Manosphere podcasts are in a symbiotic relationship. And by the way, it's not like this stuff is exclusive to this industry. There's fake outrage content everywhere. So if you see something like a video of this dad who is so mad at his daughter for bringing a boy over that he spontaneously throws out her TV with 3 different people filming, including a guy who magically knew to wait outside, then know that it's bait. Same thing with stuff like this.
Height matters.
Of course it does.
Step on the scale.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not going on a scale. You should love a girl for who they are.
You should love a guy for who they are.
If you care
you're being a
about
coward.
weight, you're ridiculous. And
If you care about height, you're ridiculous.
It's bait. These are fake interviews they set up to make women look stupid, to promote whatever dumb man on the street thing they're doing, or whatever podcast they have going on.
Yeah, I beg to differ. Think before you sleep. Well, yes, I do agree. The video of the dad throwing the TV out, that's obviously staged and faked. I mean, there's way too many people standing around with phones filming that are in locations where they shouldn't even know what was going on, but they already know what's going on and filming. So like, there's no denying that that's fake. Like, anyone with eyes can see that that's fake. But you're going to sit here and tell me that all of this red pill type content that I've seen of guys calling women out for being horrible and narcissistic and two-faced and having double standards basically exposing these women for the horrible people that they are. You're telling me that this is just fake outrage content. Because while yes, the video of that one specific video that he showed, that one could be fake. I don't know. But I've seen too many videos that are almost exactly like that I know for a fact aren't fake, because there's literal like channels that just go around like, you know, doing street interviews like that. And like, how is it rage content to point out a double standard? Because think about it. Let's think about this realistically, okay? A man cannot change his height. That is determined by his genetics. So, you know, he cannot change his height. A woman can change her weight by changing what she eats and how much she exercises. So your weight is absolutely something within your control. Your height is not within your control. Well, if women are out here saying that height matters to them, that's fine. That's perfectly okay for them to have that standard. But then if a guy comes along and says, well, weight matters to me, and then you see her react very negatively and start, you know, screaming about how, like, you know, you're not a real man if you care about my weight. Like, it's like, well, then why do you care about my height? You know, like, you can change your weight. I can't change my height. You know, it's just exposing the double standard here. And I fail to see how this is like rage baiting content. Because if it is rage baiting content, then you have to assume that the content creator knew that these women would get enraged, and they probably do, because here's the thing. I've met too many women like this in real life to not believe that you couldn't just walk down the street and you know, interview like 100 women and find at least a couple of them that would react like that, you know? Like, it's really not that hard to find people that will react like that, because it's very common that these women have these types of beliefs. And the reason I'm so comfortable in saying this is because look how many red pill type content channels have been blowing up lately that are just doing this type of content, just exposing the double standards and the hypocrisy of women in the dating market these days. And while, yes, I could understand how you could characterize it as rage baiting content, you still have to understand there is some underlying truth to it all, in the sense of that these women are upset that men have standards for them that are reasonable standards, things that they can change about themselves to make themselves more appealable to men. Meanwhile, women have standards for men, and some of these standards are entirely unrealistic standards, as in the height standards that they have, because a man cannot control his height, he cannot change his height. There's nothing a man can do besides accept the fact that he is the height that he is. And while everyone's perfectly fine with accepting the fact that women are allowed to have these standards, that they don't want to date a man who's short, they need a man that's, you know, X height and taller, you know, nobody bats an eye. Everyone says it's okay. But as soon as a man goes, well, okay, well, if that's your standard, that's fine. Then my standard is you have to be this weight or less. All of a sudden, everyone loses their shit. You can call it rage baiting. That's fine. But in my opinion, this is not at all the same type of rage baiting, because the first type of rage baiting was just, you know, like dumb, mindless stuff. Meanwhile, the red pill type content rage baiting actually has some underlying truth behind it. It actually has a message behind it. There's actually, you know, some psychology playing on here. You know, it's not just as dumb as it appears to be on the surface. While yes, some of this content is made to appeal to the lowest common denominators, so it looks very stupid and dumb. But if you start to really analyze it for what it is, you realize, oh no, there's actually a couple of layers of depth here. There's some, you know, nuance to all of this. It's not just dumb reaction, rage baiting type content. There was more thought put into this than most people give these types of content creators credit for. But, you know, it's okay. You know, everyone hates on the new kid on the block, because all the red pill content creators are the new kids on the block right now. But give it 10 years. 10 years from now, everyone's going to be looking back on this and being like, yeah, you guys were right. We all accept the things that you said back then. Like, that's the crazy part about it, is like things we say now that cause a riot, 10 years from now, everyone will be saying, and nobody will bat an eye, because everyone will be used to it by then. But it takes people like us saying these things, getting people upset, before people finally come around and realize, oh yeah, what they said, there's kind of some truth to it, you know?
And I'm not going to name names, but behind the scenes, I have literally watched girls pay Twitter or Instagram accounts to make them look stupid to promote their OF page. And it works really well. So all the people involved know what they're doing. The problem with things like Manosphere podcasts is that they are preying on lonely guys and teaching them very antisocial behavior that will not lead them to good relationships, followed by pushing them towards an addiction so they can profit. I don't care how many anti-porn podcasts that Fresh and Fit have made, they are clearly not against it or they would have changed their business model.
Hold on. Let's roll that last quote back real quick, just a second. I don't care how many anti-porn podcasts Fresh and Fit have made. They are clearly not against it or they would have changed their business model. So let me get this straight, think before you sleep. Their business model was bringing on these sex workers onto their show and then, asking them questions and letting them answer the question. And these women would make themselves look very stupid by the answers that they would give. And their entire business model is based upon the fact that they invite these women on, these women make themselves look stupid, and then Fresh and Fit come in and say, okay, see, this is why all of this is wrong. This is why X, Y, and Z, you guys shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z because these things are wrong, and this is why they're wrong, and this is what it leads to. But no, according to Think Before You Sleep, if Fresh and Fit were truly against porn, then they would stop making content where they expose the porn stars for being the horrible, terrible people that they actually are. That doesn't make any sense to me, because if you want to push back or fight against something, then the solution to it is to not shut up, stay quiet, and ignore it. That doesn't make it go away. It gets worse if you do that. But that's what Think Before You Sleep is saying. He's saying that, oh, well, if these guys were truly against porn, then they wouldn't be out here exposing all of these porn stars for being horrible, terrible people. But like I just explained, that makes no sense at all, because then they wouldn't be making a podcast that was anti-porn. And like we discussed earlier in the studies that I showed, the statement about how Manosphere type podcasts are preying on quote unquote lonely guys, that's not actually true. You could say that they were preying on quote unquote married men, because married men are the ones paying for this porn, but not quote unquote lonely guys. Okay? Lonely guys only account for 10% of the customer base of OnlyFans. So no, Fresh and Fit is not preying on lonely guys and then, getting them addicted to porn. You could say that they were doing that for married men, but not for lonely single men or single men in general. But just look at the way he frames it. He frames single guys as lonely guys, okay? It's like he can't make the distinction in his mind that you can be single but not lonely at the same time. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. So make sure you leave a like on this video. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. While you're down there, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to follow me on the Big Mean Green YouTube as well.